Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB and today is the 2nd of January 2023. Now looks like 2023 might be the year of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. What are your thoughts, guys? Mention them in the comments below. Now look, 2022 was if not one of the worst years in the history of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We had tremendous collapse of FTX exchange and also Terra Luna earlier in the year. And in 2022, the massive impact was that of DeFi. Now, on the 3rd of January 2022, the total value locked in DeFi was roughly around $240 billion. At the end of the year, the total value locked in DeFi was roughly around $30 to $40 billion. Now, there's a lot of chaos going on in the cryptocurrency world. But what are your thoughts, guys? Will 2023 be completely different? Now, in today's episode, we're going to be discussing President Joe Biden, who recently signed $1.7 trillion government spending bill, and will that have an impact in the cryptocurrency world? So we're going to be sharing my opinions and thoughts on that. And Bitcoin Magazine, they have published an article that talks about as the macroeconomic debt spiral is set to spin out of control in 2023, we as Bitcoiners should be prepared to fight to intensify. So we'll go ahead and explore what that article is all about. And in today's episode, guys, I'm also going to be discussing a really interesting report which is published by JP Morgan. And the report is called as The Dynamics and Demographics of the US Household Crypto Asset Use. But on YouTube, even Coin Bureau has a brilliant explanation. So you can go to YouTube and check out his explanation as well. Now, we'll also touch base on some of the negative things in the year of 2022. And that is mostly to do with hacks. And there was over $3 billion which was lost in crypto, or rather stolen in crypto in 2022. And most likely, guys, in 2023, we are going to be seeing some downfall as well. The one massive advocate of Bitcoin, that is Tim Draper, he just tweeted earlier today that he still stands by his decision so far as the price of Bitcoin is concerned, and he's aiming for $250,000 per Bitcoin. And look, guys, when it comes to price predictions, all price predictions are 100% right 50% of the time. Now, regarding UAE, we have two news as well, and both the news are rather positive. The first one is about Smart Ledger, and they claim to be the world's leading blockchain distribution channel, and they are planning to expand its footprint in the Middle East. So I'm going to be sharing my opinions and my thoughts on that. Now, look, guys, me particularly, I'm not a fan of blockchain protocol because there are very limited use case so far as blockchain technology is concerned. Beyond Bitcoin, I do not see any use case of blockchain technology, but nonetheless, I'm going to be sharing my opinions and thoughts on that. The second news is about Emirates National Health Services, and they have launched a transformative project that deploys metaverse technology in healthcare industry. And look, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if Dubai is pioneering the way so far as metaverse is concerned, and one of the goals of Sheikh Hamdan is for Dubai to be the top 10 cities in the world so far as metaverse is concerned, and probably the number one city in the world so far as Web 3.0 is concerned. So a lot to talk about that in today's episode. So welcome everyone, it's 18 you're in Dubai and you're listening to Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes into Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And this is followed by Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. And every Fridays, guys, I have an episode called Metaverse Everything, where we solely focus on Metaverse. So please check out those episodes as well. And the format for Metaverse Everything is completely different, and I tend to publish a daily and weekly report via my LinkedIn. So please follow me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile is in the show notes below. Now, before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Firstly, guys, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called Rise in the Obstacle Course Race, and Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs, and these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen, guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. And finally, guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now, since you've taken care of that, let's kickstart by looking at the global cryptocurrency market as of the 2nd of January 2023. Look, guys, 2022 has completely decimated the global cryptocurrency market. The market cap of Bitcoin alone at one point of time was $1.3 trillion. Fast forward to 2nd of January 2023, the market cap of Bitcoin is struggling below the $320 billion mark. So definitely not ideal if you've just gotten into the cryptocurrency space in the first or second quarter of 2022. But let's try to discuss what the global cryptocurrency market is looking at. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving a global snapshot of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Now, as of today, the global crypto market cap is $799.18 billion. Because it is the end of the year and it is on a weekend, the global cryptocurrency market is relatively low. Could it be possible that once we kick on to Monday and Tuesday, the global cryptocurrency market rises? We'll just have to wait and see how this thing plays out. Now, since the last 24 hours, it has marginally gone up by 0.16%. Now, listen to this, guys. This is definitely not the ideal start for 2023. The total crypto market volume over the last 24 hours is only $17.02 billion. And to be completely honest, this is the lowest 24-hour trading volume I've seen in a very long time. And since the last 24 hours, it is down by 20.34%. The volume of DeFi is down to $1.27 billion. And guys, in the final week of December, I was talking about how the total volume in DeFi is the lowest, and that thing continued. And I was really hoping that the 24-hour volume of DeFi does show some improvement, to be honest. But unfortunately, the downfall of DeFi does seem to continue. $1.27 billion for 24 hours is absolutely devastating and definitely not ideal. Now, the total value locked is down to $38.72 billion. As of today, the total value locked in Lido is $5.9 billion, and DeFi accounts for 7.44% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. MakerDAO is number 2nd at $5.89 billion. Aave is number 3 at $3.71 billion. Core Finance is number 4 at $3.66 billion. And finally, Uniswap at $3.28 billion. Now look, guys, if blockchain technology were to be successful, if the world of DeFi were to be successful, these numbers should at least be 10 times or maybe 20 times better. That is not happening. And to be honest, I really am doubtful when we will see that. Because when you talk about the innovation of cryptocurrencies, when you talk about the push for blockchain technology, the volume on DeFi should be at least 10 or 20 times better. That is not the case. Surprisingly, today, the volume of stablecoin is also the lowest, and it is down to $15.03 billion. This is absolutely ridiculous once again. And out of that $15.03 billion, Tether USDT accounts for $11.47 billion. These are absolutely devastating and terrifying numbers. Circle USDC accounts for $1.19 billion and Binance USD accounts for $2.24 billion. And apart from this, guys, the volume of stablecoin accounts for 88.30% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. Now, in an idealistic world, if we talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies taking over the financial system, the volume of DeFi should be 20 times much better. And to be honest, the volume of stablecoins should be less. But because the volume on DeFi is not high, I was really expecting the volume of stablecoins to be higher. But because the volume of stablecoins is ridiculously low, it just means one thing, that people are no longer believing in the power of cryptocurrencies. They have exchanged the cryptocurrencies to fiat currencies, and this is absolutely not ideal. It just gives an indication of what we might expect in the next coming months, possibly in the next quarter. But I'm going to be sharing a bit of contradicting opinion on what we can expect probably in the first quarter. But maybe my price predictions could be 100% wrong, and the only reason why I'm thinking that is because left-leaning President Joe Biden did sign $1.7 trillion in government spending, which means there is so much of cash available in the market. Because so much of cash is available in the market, there is a very high possibility that a lot of high net worthy individuals do get access to these funds, and they will be the ones who will be buying Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, because of which the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies might go up. What are your thoughts, guys? Am I right or am I wrong? Mention your comments and thoughts in the comment section below. Now let's look at the market cap, 24-hour trading volume and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And surprisingly, the market cap of Bitcoin and Ethereum has been relatively the same for almost a month now. As of today, 2nd of Jan 2023, the market cap of Bitcoin is $319 billion. Ethereum is at $147 billion. The 24-hour trading volume has ridiculously gone down, but I'm really expecting the 24-hour trading volume to shoot up probably by Monday or Tuesday. But what happens every Monday is Glassnodes and CoinShares, they tend to provide a weekly snapshot of what has happened in the previous week. So that will give us a very good indication of what to expect in the coming week. As of today, 2nd of Jan 2023, the 24-hour trading volume of Bitcoin is $9.5 billion and Ethereum is $2.47 billion. The dominance of Bitcoin is 40.05% and the dominance for Ethereum is 18.40%. Now this week, guys, I'm going to be looking at the smart contracting platform, keeping in mind the market cap. Ethereum is once again the outlier and the market cap is $147 billion. Binance has taken a massive hit, and that is because of the drama with FTX and Kevin O'Leary, who's been ranting about CZ. Now Binance's market cap is $39.22 billion, followed by Cardano at $8.56 billion, Polkadot at $5.18 billion, and Tron at $5.05 billion. And look, guys, in an idealistic world, if the cryptocurrency world is successful, the global cryptocurrency market should be well over $150 to $120 billion. And I'm talking about an average day. The total volume in DeFi should be somewhere between $30 to $40 billion. And surprisingly, the volume of stablecoins should be less, because ideally people should not be using stablecoins. It is not censorship resistant, because stablecoins do act as a bank. When that thing would happen, I'm looking at least a decade from now for mainstream adoption of cryptocurrencies. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin's dominance does shoot up to somewhere between 50 to 60%. Now, once again, guys, I'm not a massive fan of blockchain technology, keeping in mind the blockchain trilemma problem. A lot of the smart contracting platforms, they make a lot of promises, but unfortunately, you need to also compare it with existing systems. Are they in a position to offer a 10x better user experience? Keeping all these things in mind, blockchain technology does not offer a 10x better user experience, Bitcoin does offer a 10x or 25x user experience, keeping in mind the financial system, keeping in mind the fiat currencies, keeping in mind banking industry. Bitcoin might be the only thing that would survive. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about what we might expect in the year 2023. Now, a few days ago, President Joe Biden did sign a $1.7 trillion government spending bill into law. Now, if you do want to find out the actual bill, go to the White House website, because the White House website does give detailed explanation of where the funding will be used. And what I think is, because $1.7 trillion is going to be utilized by the government, these funds will be getting into the hands of high net worthy individuals, multimillionaires and billionaires, and what these guys will be doing, a part of the funds they will utilize to buy cryptocurrencies, because of which in the first quarter we might see a temporary hike in the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, keeping that in mind, Bitcoin magazine did publish an article that states, as the macroeconomic debt spiral is set to spin out of control in 2023, Bitcoiners should prepare to fight to intensify. Now, what that report does is, the report takes into consideration the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act, and this act was written by Senator Elizabeth Warren. Now, if you know the history of Senator Elizabeth Warren and the left-leaning politicians, they are definitely not in favor of Bitcoin, freedom of speech, and open source technology. So it looks like they are trying to have a lot of KYC requirement so far as Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is concerned. Now, the article written by Bitcoin magazine does stress that Bitcoin is the new frontier, the digitization of unassigned lands in the old American West. So it's going to be really critical to see what the future of the Digital Asset Money Laundering Act is. Once that thing kicks into play, there is a very high possibility that cryptocurrency exchanges will be having a lot of stringent KYC, a lot of AML requirements, because of which people may not want to use cryptocurrency. And look guys, the whole idea of creating Bitcoin was separation of money and the state. Now, will that thing happen? Only time will tell. It might take at least a couple of decades where senators, left-leaning politicians and governments are no longer responsible in creating, managing and supplying money, which is Bitcoin. Now, what are your expectations for the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in 2023? Mention your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Look guys, if you're listening to any YouTube influencers, any politicians, any so-called OGs of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies giving you any price predictions, you should always remember, all price predictions are 100% right 50% of the time. And one of the OGs, Tim Draper, who did buy Bitcoin at a ridiculously low price going back to, I believe, 2012 or 2013, he put out a tweet earlier today, and in that tweet he has a picture of himself which states that the price of Bitcoin is $250,000 by year end 2022. Unfortunately, that did not turn out to be, but he still insists that he sticks to his prediction. Look guys, I don't think that Bitcoin will touch the price of $250,000. You need to understand, multimillionaires, billionaires, celebrity influencers, they are giving out these predictions so that people buy more Bitcoin. By buying more Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin increases and the existing net worth in Bitcoin increases. So all price predictions are 100% right 50% of the time. Now let's talk about one of the OGs in the finance sector, that is JP Morgan, who put out a really interesting report called The Dynamics and Demographics of the US Household Crypto Asset Use. Now the report does provide a very comprehensive report. And look guys, if you're reading through that report, they do have a section called as Findings. Now the findings does give a summary of the entire report, and there are 4 findings. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to read out the 4 findings, but I would really recommend you to read it because they go ahead and explore the findings in detail. But let's say if you don't want to read it, Coin Bureau, who's one of my favorite YouTube channels, they have put up a video explaining this report in detail, so definitely brilliant stuff. But what that report says is that most crypto users made their first transactions during spike in crypto asset prices. Definitely very much true. And when I read through LinkedIn reports, what I tend to see is when they have gotten into the cryptocurrency space. And you wouldn't be surprised 80 to 90% of the time, who are the so-called experts in Web 3.0, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, have only gotten into cryptocurrencies in early of 2022. The second finding states that the usage of crypto is broader and deeper for men and Asian individuals and younger individuals with higher income. Now, if you listen to the video by Coin Bureau, he does give you the statistics so far as what percentage of Asians have gotten into cryptocurrencies and quite a lot more. The third finding talks about crypto holdings for most individuals are relatively small, as medium flows equals less than 1 week's worth of take-home pay, but almost 15% of users have net transfers of over 1 month's worth of pay to crypto accounts. So it could be possible that some of them do heavily rely on cryptocurrencies. And the fourth and a really critical point that they mention is that most individuals who transferred money to crypto accounts did so when crypto asset prices were significantly higher than recent levels, and those with lower incomes likely made purchases at elevated prices relatively to higher earners. And this is one of the drawbacks of social media. Look guys, one thing which I often tell my clients, not to follow social media personalities or crypto influencers who only talk about the price, rather try to understand the technology. And guys, you'll be surprised that 90% of the people who still don't understand the basics of Bitcoin and open source technology. What I'd really recommend you to do is Andreas Antonopoulos. He has a brilliant video which talks about the basics or the pillars of open blockchain technology, that is open source, neutral, censorship resistant, permissionless, borderless, and publicly verifiable. So these 6 criteria needs to be in place for any cryptocurrencies or blockchain protocol. There's also a bit of debate so far as open source technology is concerned, keeping in mind central bank digital currencies, because lately a lot of the central banks, they are making the source code completely open. But just by making the source code completely open source will not cut it. The ability to go ahead and amend and making changes to the code needs to be made to the public and not among selected individuals. So blockchain protocols, they tend to do that, but this is where the area of token kicks in. Unfortunately, 90% of the tokens are in the hands of people who have created the protocol. This goes back to the whole question of centralization. Another question that I'd like to ask you guys is, when you talk about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, blockchain, or Web 3.0, the word ideally should be decentralization or should it be distributed? What are your thoughts, guys? Mention them in the comments below. Now, the next 2 points that I'd like to talk about is how the year of 2022 was the year of hacks. And Daily Coin, they have provided an interesting article that states that more than $3 billion were lost in crypto, and this was stolen because of hacks. Now, over $3 billion were stolen in hacks in 2022, and the article discusses the top 10 hacks were responsible for more than 66% of the total funds stolen, and the largest exploit was the Ronin Bridge hack, in which $625 million were stolen. Look guys, if you don't want to find out the investigation of these hacks, Laura Shin's podcast is a brilliant podcast where she calls experts and they dissect each and every hack in detail, and the podcast is done in such a brilliant way, even a noob or a newbie can truly understand that. At the same time, the explanation that she gets from her interviewees is absolutely brilliant. It is kind of catered to beginner, advanced and technical level as well. So brilliant podcaster Laura Shin, and a podcast is called as Unchained Podcast. Now the article written by Daily Coin also provides a list of 10 largest hacks of the year. So definitely brilliant stuff. And last year guys, in 2022, there was also an exploitation of mango markets, but the person who did the attack was Avraham Eisenberg. Now there were rumors that the way the attack was organized could have been legal, but last week Cointelegraph did publish an article that FBI has pinned Avraham Eisenberg with 1 count of commodities fraud and 1 count of commodities manipulation in exploitation of mango markets. Now there are 2 ways of looking at it, because based on my understanding what he did was legally right, but looks like he could have manipulated the market, because according to the FBI complaint, Eisenberg's actions constitute both fraud and market manipulation. Now, keeping all these things in mind, and because the FBI is so concerned about Eisenberg, my big question is, what would happen to Sam Bankman-Fried? So it's going to be really interesting to see, because Sam Bankman-Fried was heavily invested in donating to extreme left-wing politicians. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the future of Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX exchange is. Now let's talk about two news regarding UAE. Now listen guys, I'm going to be sharing my opinions and thoughts on this. So the news is Smart Ledger expands footprint into Middle East. So let me try to give some information about what Smart Ledger is. Now the website is smartledger.solutions. Now they claim to be the world's leading blockchain distribution channel, and they're focusing on enterprise blockchain solution and bespoke app development. And if you go to the website, it says that they have specialized information access and expertise in latest blockchain innovation and use case. Now listen guys, based on the website, it says that blockchain offers an honest, open and stable architecture, providing the foundation for connected systems that can help to better real-time decisions, increase the efficiency of energy usage and improve the overall quality of life. Now look, I 100% disagree to it. The fact that they're saying that blockchain offers an honest infrastructure, this is not true, and this is the misconception people have about blockchain. One thing you need to remember, when you talk about blockchain, the data is only as good as the input. Now when you talk about miners' role, their role is not to validate the data, their role is only to validate that your private key matches with the public key, which matches with the public address, which eventually checks that you have relevant funds in your account. They do not check the validity of the data. Now, this is a misconception a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space have, and unfortunately blockchain does not offer an honest information. Take an example guys, let's say if there were educational certificates which were to be issued via blockchain technology. So person who's individually updating the information, if he updates the incorrect information, that incorrect information will stay on the blockchain ledger irrespective of what the miner's role is. The miners will only check if the person did utilize his private key in order to access his public address. That's about all. So if incorrect is inputted, incorrect data will be immutable in blockchain technology. And nonetheless, going back to Smart Ledger, based on the website, it says that they have 250 patented solutions, over 35 countries, and 20 plus enterprise applications. So what I'm going to be doing is I've just added the CEO of Smart Ledger via LinkedIn. I'm going to drop her an email. I'm going to ask her if she'd like to be on this podcast, and I'll definitely go ahead and ask her some of these questions and some of the challenging questions as well. Now, Smart Ledger claim they help companies understand the intricacies of the technology while identifying areas where blockchain use cases can be applied. And once the cases are identified, Smart Ledger develops and implements in-house solutions and leverage their network of strategic partners to bring operational efficiencies to life. So they focus on three core areas, that is information, access, and expertise. Now, so far as information is concerned, they provide the most updated information about blockchain use cases and application. So far as access is concerned, they provide premium access to cutting-edge technology and technical experts. And so far as the expertise is concerned, they claim that they provide expert consultation across all industries and sectors with proven results. So it's going to be really interesting once I get them on the podcast so I can ask them more information about it. Now the news that they have published that they're trying to move into Middle East is via coingeek.com. So the news is Smart Ledger expands footprint into the Middle East, utilizing scalable blockchain solutions to empower environmental sustainability, economic, infrastructure and social development in UAE and surrounding regions. And Smart Ledger is excited to announce the opening of a new subsidiary, Blockchain Smart Technologies in Dubai, UAE, which will serve the North Africa, Middle East, India and Southeast Asia regions. Now, Avraham, who's the CEO of Blockchain Technologies, I believe she's done a PhD as well. And she has said that we are thrilled to be part of the blockchain ecosystem in Dubai, and this expansion represents a significant milestone for our company as we continue to grow and expand. So it'd be great to have her on a podcast so I can get more information about it. And as per the news on another website called as einpresswire.com, it says that the blockchain smart technology team in Dubai will be led by local seasoned industry professionals who are dedicated to delivering the highest quality services to their clients. And they are confident that this new opportunity will allow them to continue to innovate and drive success to the clients in UAE and beyond. Now look guys, all these companies moving into Dubai and UAE sounds great, But since the last half of 2022 looks like Dubai is turning out to be red ocean for startups and businesses, now that is great for Dubai and great for the adoption of blockchain technologies, and at the end of the day, for end users and customers like you and me, more competitions means cheaper products, better quality and faster turnaround time. And if I'm a startup and if I'm a business entity, let's say who's utilizing services from cryptocurrency startups or blockchain technology, it just means that I get cheaper products, better quality and a faster turnaround time. So definitely brilliant news for Dubai and UAE. Now let's talk about our second news, and that is about Emirates Health Services. And this is a government entity which is also getting into metaverse. So the news is Emirates Health Services launches transformative project that deploys metaverse technology in healthcare delivery. Now this news is published by the official government news agency called as Emirates News Agency, and the website is wam.ae, that is W for water, A for alpha, M for mother.ae. Now the Emirates Health Service website is ehs.gov.ae, that is E for elephant, H for Harry, S for sugar.gov.ae. So the news, guys, is that the Emirates Health Services or EHS has announced the launch of a metaverse-based virtual telemedicine solutions using 3D virtual reality technology. And the launch is part of a transformative projects which leverage advanced technology and promote smart services such as remote health solutions and telemedicine. Now through the project, Emirates Health Services aims to deliver virtual medical consultation services supported by advanced technologies. This first-of-its-kind technology enables members of society to access e-services via smart devices, thus scaling up services to reach broader segments of individuals and enhance the customer experience. Through the new virtual channel, patients can access psychiatric consultation services, family health promotion clinics, and customer happiness center, and quite a lot more. Now look, guys, keeping in mind virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality headset, this would be an absolute game changer. You also need to keep in mind that each and every one of us nowadays has a smartwatch that monitors your heart rate, your blood pressure, and quite a lot more. Now, in a decade's time or so, I do feel that medical consultation most likely might happen in the metaverse itself, and Dr. Yusuf Mohammed Al-Sarek, EHS Director General, said it is the first global healthcare provider to apply metaverse technology to provide advanced services and promote sustainable health development goals by adopting best practices that leverage artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and blockchain technology. And this aims to strengthen governance, clinical review services, and research, promote global ethical standards and best practices, and enhance the sector's competitiveness to world-class levels. The above aligns with our strategy of future-proofing our services against emerging challenges. He also added, our transformative projects aimed at promoting innovation, investing in national healthcare capacities, and continuing to keep abreast of rapid global developments and changes in the sector by using latest global medical devices and AI-based treatments and service automation. So definitely brilliant stuff. And the new initiative aims to promote telemedicine practices in virtual clinics and provide consultation services and medications through robotic pharmacies. Now look, guys, once metaverse becomes mainstream, I definitely do think a lot of the visitation hours will only be done in the metaverse. Now could it be possible that in the near future, maybe a couple of decades from now, we might be having holographic images of the doctors as well? So essentially there will be one doctor, but he will be attending to 4 or 5 patients at the same time. So we just have to wait and see how this thing turns out to be. Now going back to the news, this move also focuses on increasing customer satisfaction and boosting patients' confidence by delivering excellent outpatient services and updating service channels. The project will provide psychiatric consultation services for different age groups in addition to accessing the Customer Happiness Center and family-centered health promotions. The project complements the goal of Emirates Health Services to be at the forefront in applying metaverse technology and equipment-free services. So definitely brilliant stuff. My only problem with this is keeping in mind blockchain trilemma problem. Will blockchain technology be able to handle the bandwidth? But when you talk about blockchain and metaverse, unfortunately, I don't think both of them merge, at least for now. Keeping in mind blockchain trilemma problem, centralized entity or centralized metaverse will offer a much better user experience they will be in a position to handle the bandwidth of Metaverse, keeping in mind the Emerald services. I don't see that thing happening with blockchain technology. So that's all for today, guys, on the Crypto and Coffee Update from Blockchain DXB. In case if you have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com, and also check out my other website, that is area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. If you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes is going to be an Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So let's get started with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB, listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. Now listen, guys, if you're listening to this podcast and if you do have any questions you'd like to ask for my next podcast, mention them in the comments below and I'll definitely pick them up. Now I have a question by Daniel who asks, how do you see the first quarter of 2023? Now Daniel, I did talk about this in my podcast 2 weeks ago. Now 2 weeks ago, I did mention what I expect to see in the first quarter of 2023, and that has completely changed since the last few days. Now 2 weeks ago, I did say that the first quarter might be relatively slow. That is because of the downfall of FTX exchange. The inflation is still up. There's also rumors about recession. But because of the signing of $1.7 trillion government spending and the bill came into law, my approach towards the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has changed. Now, one thing which I did mention earlier in the podcast as well, a lot of the funds, unfortunately, will not be going to average individual citizens, but it will be going to high-tech businesses. It will be going to a lot of defense work. A part of these funds will be directly going into multi-billionaires, high-net-worthy individuals. And what I do think, a lot of the so-called institutional companies and institutional investors, they definitely will be buying a part of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and because of the news, there is a very high possibility that in the first quarter of 2023, we might just see a temporary hike in the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I do feel that the only thing that we might see a hike is most likely Bitcoin and Ethereum, because it's very unlikely that institutional investors will be getting into altcoins, but I wouldn't be surprised if meme coins such as Dogecoin and Shiba Inu coins does have an uptrend as well. Apart from that, I do see that layer 1 protocols might just see an uptick in the price, and this is only because of the $1.7 trillion which will be injected into the economy. Now over a period of time, I don't think that will be idle, and that's one of the reasons why I do feel in the second quarter the inflation numbers will go up once again, and then the prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies might go down by the second quarter of 2023. I have another question by Sophie who asks, will 2023 be the year of Metaverse? Now, unfortunately, Sophie, no, I don't think 2023 will be the year of Metaverse. Now, in my Metaverse Everything podcast, I have given a timeline of when I do feel Metaverse will be mainstream. I do feel that 3 to 4 years down the line is when Metaverse will be mainstream, but only virtual reality will be mainstream, and we might be at the area in life where virtual reality headsets possibly replaces mobile phone. This is what I anticipate. And one thing which I've mentioned several times in my Metaverse Everything podcast is Meta or Facebook. They are heavily investing in research and development, particularly on the virtual reality headsets. The virtual reality headsets are going to get smaller. The quality is going to be 10x better, maybe 20x better. And so far as the visuals are concerned, and they're very heavily investing on the visual and long-term usage of virtual reality headsets. So Sophia, I don't think 2023 will be the year of Metaverse. 3 to 5 years from now is when I do feel virtual reality headsets will be the year of Metaverse, and probably 5 to 8 years from then is when it'll be the year of Metaverse. And by that time, we might also have better augmented reality devices. There would be brilliant use case. And one thing, Sophia, which I'm really intrigued to know is what new industry gets developed because of Metaverse. Because if you look at social media, before the invention of, let's say, mobile phone, no one even thought of social media industry. I mean, I'm sure there were, Facebook or that you could utilize on laptop and on desktop computer, but it wasn't as big. So I'm really anticipating and waiting that once metaverse goes mainstream, what is the new industry that would be developed? So that is something which I'm really intrigued by. So that's all for today, guys, from the Ask Me Anything series from Blockchain DXB. In case if you have any feedback or suggestions, please mention them in the comments below. And also check out my website, www.blockchaindxb.com. And also check out my other website, that is area2071.com, that talks everything about metaverse. And if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. And how the series of episodes in the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is usually covers some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and metaverse. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. So thanks so much for listening, guys. Have a nice one. Bye-bye.